Yes. Are we good?
You know how hard it is to play a practice round?
My mom's a really, really hard worker. I think I definitely learned a lot of my work ethic from watching her. She always put her best into her job and her best at being a mom as well. You know, she worked full time while we were growing up. My dad stayed home and took care of all four of us, and so you know it wasn't I would say an ideal situation for her. I think you know she would have rather have stayed home all day, but you know stayed home and took care of us. And she definitely, I think, missed a little bit of that. And so now on the other side, with her being retired, she gets to spend a lot of time with us and with her grandchildren. And so it's really fun for her to be on this side of it now, where the work is done and she can kind of relax and enjoy retirement and get to spend a lot of time with her kids and her grandkids. And I think she's really enjoying it. You know, I think definitely a good bit of perspective. You know, like looking at this year, I haven't had the starts that I would have hoped to start the year. I've had some good starts, but I haven't had any really great ones yet. And, you know, when you get home at the end of the day, Bennett is still going to do pretty much the exact same thing he always does when I get home. So, you know, my work is definitely not going to affect him. And, you know, definitely get a bit of perspective. It also has given me a much greater appreciation for my parents, knowing what they did to us for years. You know, when you look at myself, you know, I'm 28 years old. You can't imagine that I was once, you know, this big. And I think gaining that perspective, I think, you know, gives you a greater appreciation for your parents, for sure.
I mean, obviously looking back to what we did 12 months ago, it was a really cool experience. Obviously it was my first major, so going into that, I didn't really know what to expect, but it exceeded my expectations by a mile, and it was really cool to sort of feel all the buzz and have a chance to win late on Sunday was really cool. And it was very justifying in terms of where we were in my progress and in my ability. So I've used that sort of in the preparation, and it's really nice to sort of know that you can, and deep down know that you're able to do that and to be in that situation. Because before I'd done it, I didn't really know, and I feel like at this point in time, I feel like I do know. So it's been good to be back, and looking forward to a good week.
Major championship tests that's why they're major championship tests. They're the most difficult tournaments that we as professional golfers face and will face in our careers. And I think that's why they're so revered to win. I think there's a little bit less pressure, but no matter the tournament, I'm still at the last 9 holes of the tournament. I'm going to feel nerves. I'm going to feel nervous. I'm going to be focusing on how to control those nerves, and I think everybody kind of gets that way as well. I don't think anyone's immune to it, but it's a joy for that test to come about. Even though I get nervous, it's a joy for me.
It's just a beautiful place. So every time you come here, the first couple of days, you just really let it all sink in. And I do think now that I've been here, you know, this is my 6th time here, and you get over that awe feeling maybe after the first couple of days, and then you realize, okay, what's the best use of my time? So I feel like I've gotten into some better routines, and I know exactly the shots that I need to work on. First few years, you're just kind of, don't really have a clue what's going on. You just try to put the one foot ahead of the other and see how the work week ends up. But yeah, I do feel like I come here a little bit more prepared.
It's been a nice way to start the year with the 2 victories at Pebble Beach and Sawgrass. You know, had a decent showing last time out when I played at Houston a couple of weeks ago. Had a good weekend, and then yeah, I've had a couple of visits up here, and that's, you know, it's been, you know, I'm very glad to do that, especially with the weather yesterday. So yeah, it's been a really good sort of lead into it. You know, spent a week at home and had Michael Bannon over, and we were doing some practice, and you know, played quite a bit of golf and tried to stay as sharp as I could. So yeah, it's been a good week, and obviously, you know, looking forward to getting this thing going on Thursday. over the course of my career, I feel like I've showed quite a lot of resilience from setbacks, and I feel like I've done the same again, especially post June last year, and the golf that I've played since then, and it's something that I'm really proud of. Look, you have setbacks and you have disappointments, but as long as you can learn from them and move forward and try to put those learnings into practice, I think is very, very important. I feel like I've showed that quite a lot over the course of my career. But yeah, look, when you have a long career, like I have had, luckily, you sort of just learn to roll with the punches, the good times, the bad times, knowing that if you do the right work and you practice the right way, that those disappointments will turn into good times again pretty soon.
I don't think you need to do anything to make the Masters any more special than it already is. So coming here, there's no added anything to that, right? Majors have always been aside from every event in the world, and when you come to one of those, it doesn't feel any different to what it was before in any way like that. So there's no extra or added anything into the week as it was maybe 3, 4, 5 years ago, because they're so special in their own right.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I know what I'm capable of when I'm feeling good, when I'm not thinking of anything but getting the ball in the hole. So it's been a process to get back to that. I don't have, a ton of reps doing it, but there's a lot for me to draw back on, sort of, previous accomplishments to sort of let that confidence grow.
Look, I think everyone enjoys it. All those guys were amazing to me. They still are. We're very friendly out there. Look, I think the golf world enjoys seeing everyone playing together, right? I mean, I don't think anyone would say no to that. So, yeah, it's amazing how much we take for granted in life. You look back at whenever LIV started and this whole debacle started, right? And back then, when I first turned pro, like, no one really complained, right? And we enjoyed it. But then this all happened, and then, you take things for granted. You get my point? You look back and you're like, man, like, we had it pretty good. Everyone always talks about money, and you guys, I think the money thing needs to, like, get pushed aside. Like, it's just being golfers, right? Being professional golfers, playing. So these weeks are special now. You don't take them lightly. I think from my perspective, it's what's best for the PGA Tour. I haven't sat in those meetings, and I know guys have sat countless hours, and I thank them for that. That's up to the whole board and stuff. They'll figure something out. Whether one way or the other. Anytime I get an opportunity to play against everyone, the best players in the world, it's great. I think that's what we're all hoping for at some point, is for that to be figured out. That's beyond me and beyond my scope. Unfortunately, I think there's, at some point with the players get all together, I think we could figure it out, but it's a lot more complicated, obviously, than what we think. So, hopefully one day it'll get figured out and we can make that happen. But for me, I just focus every time I'm out on the golf course to be the best I can possibly be. I'm actually playing the golf course, not necessarily playing the competitors. So I focus more on the golf course more than anything.
In the state of the game and what's happening, we don't know. Nobody knows. And we all want a solution, and it's hard to give one. And when it comes to this week last year, for me, it was tough because it was the first major after joining LIV, and I was also defending. So there was a lot going on. That week. A lot of new things, right? New locker room, having the Champions Dinner. So it was a lot to adjust to. But yeah, and just a little bit of possible negative comments that you might hear throughout the year. A few more questions, maybe trying to get me in a tough spot, but nothing different to kind of what he mentioned earlier. Nothing different to what many other athletes deal with on a daily basis, right? I mean, if you ever see press conferences that LeBron James gives, I mean, it's but it just feels like they're out to get him every single day. So I don't envy him one bit in that regard.
No, it's just narratives. It's noise, and it's just trying to block out that noise as much as possible. I need to treat this tournament like, all the other tournaments that I play throughout the year. And yeah, look, I understand the narrative and the noise, and there's a lot of anticipation and build up and coming into this tournament each and every year. But I just have to keep my head down and focus on my job.